No.
You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Hello, viewers. Welcome back to Vibing with Mr. Marvelous. We have no other than Chef Butch from Tracy's Bistro on our show this evening. Welcome, Chef. How are you?
Good. You?
Marvelous. Thank you. Thank you. So this is Chef Butch.
Yes.
So Chef, tell the viewers a bit about you, a little background, and who are you, and how did Tracy Bistro come along?
We only have half hour.
That's it.
Take a lot.
Half an hour.
Yes.
She's been funny. He needs 3 hours, but not today.
No. So
Half an hour today.
Tracy's Bistro came along of being in this business for over 30 plus years. I've always wanted a restaurant. I've always, wanted to be in this position to be an owner and give back to the community. As much as the business is about the restaurant, it's also about community. I think the easiest way for me to give back is through this process of teaching people how to cook and become better cooks. And the food is what brings everybody together. It's not one, it's not like a glass of water and a glass of wine. Food brings everybody together. No matter where you're from, it can bring you together. And at the end of the day, staff needs to learn, people need to eat, people love to enjoy food.
Absolutely. Love it. I love it. And as you know, before we get back to the meat and the potato of Chef Butch over here and Tracy's Bistro, our trivia question today, it's about me, question about me. So I did go to college. What did I get a master's in? What degree did I get a master's in? So I got a degree, a master's in something. You got 5 minutes to come up with the answer. We'll give the answer in 5 minutes. What do you think?
Culinary.
Culinary? Close. But I'll give you the answer, sorry. But that was close. That was close.
I
So, Tracy's Bistro, 30 years in the making.
Right.
And your doors are finally open.
Yes.
How does that feel? Crazy.
Yeah.
What was the craziest part? Was it the pre-construction, the permits,
It's been a long process. I mean, it's taking almost over 16 months to get this place open. And with the pandemic, everything price-wise went 25% higher. So everything around us, you see, is pretty much, for the most part, brand new. The walls were taken down, repainted, floors were cleaned, and bathrooms were cleaned, bar was redone, kitchen was completely remodeled. For the most part, we put new equipment in. This place was a disaster when type of restaurant that is out there now. We want you to come in and enjoy the food that we create. You can go anywhere else and get what you want when you want it. The goal is to create a consistent quality food every single time you walk in the door. And the only way to do that is by sticking to your recipes. And the recipe is the menu. And the menu stays and tries to stay as consistent as possible. We do everything fresh here.
Love it.
All the desserts are from scratch. So, that's just, I think it's a good recipe for long-term investment.
Definitely. And I will attest to about you being everything brand new, and you remodel this whole place. Because before that, because I'm next door to Tracy's Bistro is next to 9 Round and the fitness place here at 441 on Lake Roof Road. So we are live right here in the actual restaurant. And we'll talk about this beautiful painting shortly, the meaning behind it. But all the restaurant is brand new. I saw a change between what before and after. And I could attest that it's much, much better. It's brighter, it's clean, it's amazing. You've done a lot of work.
It's inviting. I want you to come back. I mean, and not just as, a patron, you can go to the bar. I want you to book a party. I want you to invite me into your home and I can cater your events. If you want platters, if you want side pieces of cheese or displays or whatever it may be that we can produce in here.
So it's more than just the restaurant.
Yes.
So you could get a phone call and say, I have a party of 50.
Yes.
Let's say polo season or polo around the corner.
Absolutely.
So horse people call and say, hey, horse people, or proper name, equestrians, call and say, hey, I have a party or 40. Can you do at home or?
Yeah, in the barn.
Fantastic.
I've catered in the middle of a field more than once. Catered in a house, excess of $500,000. So it's not the volume is it's easy to do. It's just if you know how to do it.
Brilliant. All right. That was your 5 minutes for the trivia question. And you got one more chance at answering what master's degree do I have?
Restaurant, hotel management.
Yes. So hospitality. So chef was partly right. I did go to culinary school. That was part of the program to cook and prepare everything from salads to all the way to desserts. We had to bake and do everything. So yes, I do have a master's in hotel tourism management, so I could relate to what you're going through. Because my plan was to go back to the Caribbean and run a resort, but I'm still in the US and I'm stuck on the fitness side. But
Stuck on like you're stuck.
I should say stuck.
Different path.
Correct. Universe life took me something different. I've always been a workout fanatic from birth. I never stopped, and my passion got stronger. But I still love equally the hotel, restaurant world, and the fitness world. So
I mean, the restaurant business itself is very daunting. You have people from everywhere who want what they want when they want it, and the realistic thing is that you can't always get what you want.
very true.
And you have to. I think at the end of the day, people have to keep things in perspective. Nowadays, restaurants that are trying to establish, like myself, is trying to establish one part after the next part after the next part to stay in business and quality. It's easy to go ahead and say, "Oh, I want this with this and that and that," but for the business itself, it becomes very daunting to try to make everybody happy. So, my goal is to make as many people happy as possible. Quality is definitely has to be the forefront. It can't be. I don't want to give it to you for a lesser price than restaurant quality.
Right.
So it has to be quality first and consistency. And the staff knows that. And they want to invoke that in themselves. They want to invoke that in the people that come forward.
And your keyword use is consistency. And as a leader of this fine establishment, what are some of the ways that you keep consistency? Do you have like a checklist or?
I'm on top of everybody. So if they're in a station, I'm walking through the station probably much daily to make sure that everything that they have needs to be there and everything is fresh. And any chef knows that the best way to have a good employee is by following up on them. If you leave a staff member by themselves, it's easy for them to go off path and take their own vision or their own perception of what should and shouldn't be. You do see a lot of hard chefs. It's for a reason. It's not because they want to be that way.
Right.
It's just people have to be told constantly how to stay consistent.
Love it. As a child, did you ever see yourself being in a restaurant, owning a restaurant one day? Was that your path or?
My grandmother used to have these huge pots of soup. She had 7 kids and
Grandma, you heard that?
7 kids, and she used to make a pot of soup, and I was 5 years old, I think at the time. I climbed up and she had a ladder and put some vegetables in there, and she said, "What do you want to do when you grow up?" And I said, "I want to be a chef." And ever since I was 5, I knew, and here we are.
Wow, since 5.
Since 5, yeah.
And have you learned? Looks like you've learned as you said, the authentic way, which is old school, at home. And did you go like experience at school? Did you just restaurant, hotels? What's your path like?
Well,
for learning?
I started in restaurants. I worked for Big Boys, which was like a large chain restaurant, and it was very, very busy. I mean, it sat basically 300 to 400 people at one time. You do 600 to 700 people in a day, and then for lunch, they would do pretty much almost the same thing. So the volume piece really got to me really quickly. I've worked for the Ritz-Carlton. I've worked for the Breakers. I've worked for country clubs, hotels. I worked for 5 different hotels, 2 of them being 5-star, 5 diamond.
Correct. Yes, the high end. Yep. Very nice.
And I went to the Olympics with the Ritz-Carlton. So I mean, it gave you all the perspectives. I have all the perspectives of the culinary piece of it, and there's still pieces that I'm missing, like the real fine dining.
Definitely.
Which is really not my forte. I enjoy what I do. And there's a lot of abilities to change and make things the way you want them, and be part of, the culinary world. I mean, there's just so much out there, so much, and it's my passion.
Love it. Now I know the viewers probably wondering, who's Tracy? Tracy's Bistro.
Tracy's my wife.
Excellent.
We're celebrating 30 years this May. I mean, the end of this month.
Happy anniversary, Tracy. 30 years. What's the secret?
Yes, she's probably the best person I know. Okay, best person I know. She gave me life to help me get to this point. Gave me 2 beautiful children. So at the end of the day, why not celebrate somebody that's celebrated you your whole life? And she's always been there. She's given me the opportunities, and she never has a bad word to say. So about anybody, more or less me. And she's just good people, and it's very rare to find somebody that good.
I agree. Very nice. Very nice. You found 30 years, and I could tell you're very compassionate and you're very thankful and blessed.
Yes, very much. I mean, no matter what happens now with what I'm doing now, I'm happy. I mean, no matter how difficult it becomes, I'm happy. So, the only thing that makes the world go around easier is money, and money doesn't make me happy. I'm not here to make money. I want to be a charitable restaurant. I want the paintings on the wall, if I may mention.
Yeah, definitely. So a little brief before we go deep into the painting. So as you can see around behind us, there's some beautiful paintings on the wall. Chef Butch is about to talk about that.
Yeah, my wife, she went to college for arts.
Okay.
And, she's very creative. She doesn't just do this. She does some little jewelries and some other knickknacks, and I want these pieces to be part of our charitable event. Every piece is available. They're sets of 3. They're available for sale in sets of 3, and we are trying to build that piece into a charity.
Love it.
And majority of the proceeds will go to charity, other than for supplies. But
definitely,
majority of them it's just for charity. It's the goal is to give back as much as you can. And you have the ability to give back. This is something that can give back pretty simply.
Very true.
People will pay for it just to give it away.
Yes. Yes.
And, I think at the end of the day, it's important to always give back.
And I can attest, Tracy's Bistro has given back to Marvelous Motivations, my very own charity back in the Caribbean in St. Lucia. So if you're watching right now, Tracy's restaurant has donated gift cards to us. So he has given back already to the world. As you can tell, it doesn't affect just the local area. He goes broad and far away in the Caribbean, helping Marvelous Motivations Health and Wellness Center in Denver, St. Lucia. So thank you.
Just to give money. I think I have staff that have worked for me that now are chefs.
Definitely.
And I think at the end of the day, the easiest way and the best way for me to give back is to invest in people. And trying to make this the best restaurant in Wellington is making the people who work in it feel they're part of the ownership and part of the investment and giving back.
Love it. And if you had an idea, something to help people and give back, like you said, it's not about the money. You hate giving money, but you want to help and grow people. What would you like to see or do?
I think
to create an effect.
I want to be able to have a small community of chefs and owners of properties to start developing our own environment for people to say, okay, let's just say we buy a building and we turn it into apartments for at least 20, 30 people. And we're able to give them and get them started and get them a job and let them move on. There's got to be a timeline, obviously, and you have to make sure you're just investing in people, because no matter if you lose as far as how they react or how they do their life, you still gain because you're just giving back as much as you can. Then you give back. It's your time, it's your passion, it's your, you want to develop somebody. If you have 100 people and you only develop 25, you've already won. Okay.
Love it.
If you're helping their children to go through college or go through school, so they have clothes and they have food. I grew up with no food. I grew up poor, and I know what it feels like, and I know what it feels like to eat out of a trash can. So I don't want anybody to have to feel that way if I can prevent it. And again, I don't want to throw money at it. It doesn't work. Money doesn't work. It's
Definitely.
all the other things. You got to give them tools. You can't just here's $100, here's $200, here's $300. Here's the tools. Here's an apartment. It's set for 3 months. You don't have to worry about rent for 3 months, but you still have to pay.
Correct.
Yourself.
Somehow, yes.
No, but you pay yourself. We're going to charge you. Maybe you got to come up with $1,100 a month. That goes in the bank. So when you get ready to leave, we have here. We're going to give you this. It's yours.
I love it. I love that concept. Because then when you give, it doesn't get a massive effect because they want more. But when you give them the tools and give them the resources, it makes them go hunt, go. Right. So they learn, and they could take the next level.
Sure. And the restaurant business is right now is dying for staff.
Very true. Staff is very hard. So talk about staff is very difficult being opening at that time. Like right now, everybody talks about staffing and everything. How that has been?
It's terrible. It's the worst I've seen it in my entire career. Staffing has gone from, you used to have, for every cook you had 2 people behind waiting to get that job. Now you don't even have those people. And that cook you have to keep a year longer, and he wants more money. Because, I just saw TV the other day. Is it that chicken place? What's it called?
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A is offering $19.75 starting pay.
Wow.
That was some burger place. So I mean,
wow.
You used to be able to compete.
Right.
Now, as you got people who are wanting $15, $18, $22, $30 an hour just to work. So you can't have the massive amount of staff you used to have because your footprint is much, much broader as far as your payroll.
Definitely. And the cost of everything is high, so it's a chain effect on everything.
Yeah. Your gas going up, their gas is going to go up.
And talk about like how to get quality staff and just staff overall. Before the pandemic or whatever, like it was plentiful. It was a lot.
It was a lot, quite a bit, yes.
What do you think happened? People mindset changed. People true colors came out.
I think it made it easier. Because the government was giving them money to stay home, so it made them easy. So now I can stay home and work on a computer. I can stay home and find a job doing this. I can stay home and go someplace else and make more money because there's nobody.
Right.
So it's the government giving money is the same problem.
Doesn't encourage that effective work, that hustle bustle that used to make America great.
Of course. I mean, as you know, Americans, we outsource almost 90% of what we produce. We need to be American again. We need to bring back what our Constitution means, to us as
that hardworking labor.
Yes.
Be the greatest nation.
Sure. Yes.
On the earth.
I mean, we help everybody.
Absolutely.
But sometimes we don't help ourselves in the right ways. Giving money is not the answer. Giving them a job, that's the answer. As a government, we should open, canneries or whatever it may be to produce jobs to get people back into jobs, not force them to stay home and look for, Mr. Same's going to give me money.
Love it. Tracy's Bistro. You have the art on the wall, and your food is very artistic. I've seen it. I've dined here.
Sure.
Love it. So I love the combination between the two. There's art on the wall, and that artistic has always been something you always had in you. Like,
oh yes, I've been a manager at a very young age. I started probably my first management position. I was around 21, 22 as a garde manger chef at a hotel. A hotel at the time that did $3 to $5 million. So the detail part of it came in as a garde manger. Garde manger, there's a lot of canapes, or hors d'oeuvres, or cheese displays. In fact, my former chef was working with me that when I was a kid. I mean, like
crazy how life, your path, you never know.
Sure. Yeah.
So always be careful what you do, who you treat. Because when we on your way up, you never know on your way down where you're gonna pass. So
the business is tough, no matter what anybody says.
Talking about the business stuff. So you had a dream of opening this beautiful place. What's the difference between owning it? compared to working for the Ritz or the Breakers or one of those establishments?
I'm the guy. I'm in charge of everything. I'm in control of everything. I have to make sure that as many of the details that I want to see are being seen. It's from the silverware, from the napkins to the placemats to the glassware. It's on shoulders of one individual where you have a conglomerate of people. Everybody's taking a piece of that to themselves. Whether it's the chef doing his part, he's got the dishes, or it's the glassware, or the food and beverage director is taking care of the glassware, or the china, or the silverware, or the dining room. It falls to see and do as many pieces as you see now. It doesn't just come like that. You have to imagine it. You could use a cheaper napkin, but it doesn't make it worthwhile for you to come back. I want you to come back because it's unique. It might be only a little bit unique, but it's still unique.
Using the word unique, there's lots of restaurants in the Lake Worth Wellington area.
Sure.
What are the two things that stands out compared to the rest? I know you could mention probably 25, 30, 40 things that's unique compared to the rest out there. What are probably two things that you would say is different from what's out there?
Well, I'm 100% production. So all the food that comes in the door, it's raw. And we produce everything from scratch. So it's basically a scratch kitchen.
Right. Okay, brilliant. So it's fresh, it's scratch. It's not like microwave ready to go.
No.
Some restaurants do that. So
it's not for me to say I'm better than anybody.
Correct.
I'm not.
You see why you stand out.
I'm just wanting to be the best that I can be.
Definitely.
For the staff, for my family, for people, and the only way to get across to people is by making sure that you're a little more rigid. You got to be a little more rigid. You can't come in, and say I want this and that, because it costs. If I don't have the ability to make excess of anything, I have to make a minimum, try to keep it fresh so that nothing sits or stays longer than it needs to. So at the end of the day, I think that's what makes us unique. Is I don't have anybody to go to say, hey, I need that extra, or we need to be better. I need to be ready. Period. And as far as the atmosphere, it's clean. I have to be clean. I'm not the floor. The glassware has to be different. The napkin has to be a little different.
Definitely.
And the environment, it's clean. I think at the end of the day, people want to come in and feel clean.
I agree, 100%. That's why they leave wherever they leave at their homes and they come. They don't want nothing dirty. That's
Sure.
Bad experience off the bat. That's like the moment where you come in and you're like, oh, by the way, bad taste in your mouth already.
I mean, even smell. I mean, I go through the dining room every single day, and I just want to make sure it smells good. If you walk in the door and you get hit with an odor that's not clean, your mindset changes.
Definitely.
Instantly.
You spoke about growing up poor, eating from a garbage can. I came from kind of similar situation, but not eating from a garbage can, but like from a jungle side, like small,
Sure.
like I didn't grow up with silver and gold and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What's your views on world hunger? Can world hunger be stopped? I mean, the amount of restaurants and the hotel and the amount of food that's in the world. And we know most of food go to waste. What's your views on world hunger? Can it be stopped in the future? Will it ever stop? What do you think about world hunger?
I think at the end of the day, it's not a matter of can we stop it. It's a matter of why haven't we stopped it. Okay. With all the excess that's there, with all the companies that are giving, with all the things are there, it's just a different path. People haven't found the path that makes it work. You're allowing a company who's got 100 employees they have to pay before the money gets down to the bottom line. So you can donate $1 million, but if the platform is so high, by the time the money gets to the bottom, it's a minuscule amount. And you have to put people involved, get people that are in that have that problem, right?
Yes.
If you're used to having food, you don't know what the problem is. Okay.
I agree, because without cutting you short, because I've been into like food drives. I've helped, donated, experienced it, and I give at the line, and I see people roll up with Mercedes and stuff like that. Then I'm giving them like food or whatever, and they're like, "No, I don't want that today." I'm like, "Wow, like where I'm from, you get what you take. Like if you're hungry, you eat whatever." So that really surprised me that you said the right people in the right places.
I mean, we have the ability. restaurants cannot necessarily give you what they throw away.
Correct.
They
Because
can't do
of food illness and
Well, I mean, it's just it doesn't. It There's nobody that says I have. Oh, I'm gonna have X amount of food for tomorrow to give away.
right.
If it's a plan to give it away. If you plan to give it away, then you already know. If I have a budget, let's say my budget for the year is $100,000, 5% of that I want to give away. I want to be able to give away 5% every single month going forward because I have the budget to do so. So now I just got to watch my budget for 5%. So I mean, we have as a country, we have the abilities. We just get so wrapped up in everything else, and we don't have the technology or the resources or even remotely who to go to. Where do we start? We can't start with the government. We need to start with the people who are in it to make them aware of how to develop it, and then you can give it away. And then you give them a bank account, and make the bank accounts. It's an interest-bearing bank account where it's a constant thing where it's making money, and you got to charge. If you can charge for money for the food, charge a minimum. Give them what they can afford, but make them feel that they're doing something for themselves. Make them feel worth it. They already feel bad because they can't.
Definitely.
Yep. But if they have the ability, when you come back, can you try to bring some money so we can donate the money? And the money goes back into the cycle. So it's a cycle. The money comes in, the money goes out. And then you have these companies like the big companies that say, okay, for every dollar you spend, we put in 5. All right? So if you're spending $100,000, they're going to give you 5 times that. Boom. And you have that throughout cities. And you got to put parameters. You can't just, you're driving up a Mercedes-Benz. What are you doing here?
Very true.
Get behind the wall.
Very true.
And we got to be honest with each other.
Yeah, very true. And that's the key. And I had an interview last week where the gentleman said, forget about the emotions. Forget about, just look at the truth.
Yes.
We have to look at the truth of everything.
Absolutely.
Forget about color. Forget about everything.
Yes.
What's the truth? And that's how we can fix things.
Yes.
If we get emotions and this, my cousin, my godmother, my this, no, it'll never fix. What's the truth? What's the main truth behind it? And that's how we can fix things.
I think that's pretty much it in a nutshell. Is that we have to face, we're being told constantly that you need to take a drug for this. Constantly. And you're not sick. Now all of a sudden you're sick. And it's the food. People don't eat 3 squares. 3 squares are probably the best vitamin you can do, right? 3 square meals.
Yep.
Most people get 1, 2 maybe. But if you have 3 squares, you're already going to get healthier.
Definitely.
If you're not eating, you're not going to be healthy. I don't believe dieting by starving. I believe dieting by eating, because you have to find out what your body doesn't like.
Very true. As I say, what you put in your body is one of the most powerful things. Yes, working out is important, but one of the most powerful things you can do for your body is what you put in that body, that food. Yeah. You have a chef, you have your personal trainer here. We'll take care of you. So I call you whoever, the 3 closest people to you, put them in one room, and I ask, give me one word to describe Chef Butch. I'm on the phone calling them, the 3 closest people to you. Maybe Tracy's one of them. Maybe Hannah, your daughter, and your son I haven't met yet. But what one word they will all come together and say, this describe Chef. What word would that be?
I'm crazy.
Crazy. All right, at least you know.
I'm crazy. There's no doubt about it.
Okay. And most chefs are somebody crazy and passionate. So
I mean, passion is definitely another word, but crazy, but passionate too. Passionate and crazy.
Love it.
They're almost, they're like side by side. Passion. You need to be crazy.
Definitely.
Passion. You need to be outside of your own mind. You can't look at it. If you look at a glass of water half empty, you already lose.
Very true.
It's half full.
Very true.
Right?
Yes. Yep. Throughout your years, what's been the most joyful thing you experienced so far throughout your years?
The birth of my kids.
The birth of your kids.
Yeah.
It's powerful.
It's again, it goes back to my wife. What gift can man get when a woman gives you children? It's the charity thing is for me to evolve around women and children. will be my goal, is to whatever development I can do,
Definitely.
whatever goal I can achieve, has to be around women and children, because women provide us with our future. The children are the future to come. So we have to invoke, as a man, as much powerful knowledge into a woman being free of her own mind. My wife doesn't need me. My daughter doesn't need me. My son needs my guidance to be a man.
Very true.
So my wife guides my daughter, and I'm the person gives them the strength that they can know that no matter what happens, I'll pick them up. And if they need me, they call. If they don't need me, a woman has to have her own mind. You can't develop my emotions or my vision on my wife. My wife Tracy's been together 30 years. She has her own mind. She doesn't need me to tell her what she needs. And I think it's important that we focus on making sure that we're stronger. The stronger we get, the better we are.
Love it. We're almost out of time, but we got 2 more questions for Chef. Thanks for sharing your most life-loving experience. What about the restaurant? What has been the most joyful thing about opening your doors and the restaurant is open and it's like, yes, I can breathe a little bit. We never stop, but we like, the doors are open.
Well, that's it. The doors are open.
That was your big.
That's at the end of the
yes.
Yes. It's just being able to say that I'm achieving a goal that I set to open a restaurant. Trying to get it to stay successful depends on a lot of different parameters.
Definitely.
And consistency has got to be the most important.
Love it. We're gonna end on a sweet, happy ending. Your desserts.
Yes.
How's your desserts there? By the way, I love food. If you can't tell, I know I'm kind of whatever. I love food. But I live a balanced life. How's the desserts?
The desserts are good. We make it from scratch.
From scratch.
Blueberry tarts made from scratch. Apple tarts made from scratch. Chocolate ganache cake made from scratch. The lemon curd made from scratch. The cookies that we give with our checks are made from scratch. So everything in my desserts are from scratch.
There you heard it. Homemade, fresh, made from scratch, right here at Tracy's Bistro in Lake Worth, Wellington area, at the corner of 441 and Lake Worth Road. Any last words of advice for future chefs, future restaurateurs, entrepreneurs, anybody, like just the world, like anything, last words of kindness, of inspiration, of hope, anything you want to share from your heart?
Just make yourself happy.
Make yourself happy.
Because at the end of the day, I can't make anybody else happy but myself. And if I'm happy, I can make everybody happy.
Thank you, Chef. Thank you for vibing with Marvelous, with Mr. Marvelous. Viewers, thank you for vibing. Chef thanks you also, and we want to see you here at Tracy's Bistro. It's not just a restaurant. He's building a community where he's going to give back and just learning and teaching future chefs, future generations to come. Thank you, viewers. And remember, be marvelous.